Okay, so ABN Cast has moved on now on day one of MRO Europe to the Pioneer Aero stand. I'm joined by Chris Stotts, who is the Senior Vice President. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, great to be here.
Welcome to Barcelona.
Beautiful city.
It's
beautiful city.
What we've seen of it,
I spent 3 hours walking around yesterday.
Oh,
it was
you were lucky.
fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. First time here or not?
First time here.
It is, okay.
First time here,
yeah. Amazing. Yeah. We're here to talk about what you're exhibiting today, the kind of conversations you're having and we'll hope to have on stand over the next couple of days. But just quickly introduce us to Pioneer. What are you and what do you do?
So Pioneer, we're a parts supply company. Buy and sell aviation parts, right? Put them on the shelf, make sure we've got things ready. We've been around for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Our owner started in his own house, in his garage.
A startup.
True startup, just buying a couple parts here and there, and it grew from there. We're currently about 40 employees all across the world. We've got offices in the UK and Turkey, and some folks that work out in the APAC region, as well as our main warehouse in Chicago in the US.
Right.
Yeah,
so the company was founded in the US, that's where it was founded.
Founded in the US, and then we've kind of just expanded and gone global.
Nice, okay. And so parts, that covers a lot of stuff.
It covers a lot of stuff.
Do you do everything, or do you have specialism in certain areas?
I say the same thing when everyone asks that.
Yeah.
We specialize in data.
Okay.
So we're big data consumers, we're big data purchasers. We analyze and look at a lot of data.
Yeah.
And we give that to our team and say, these are the parts we want on the shelf.
Okay. You're taking the data from the industry?
From the industry.
Wherever you can get it, I guess.
Multiple sources. Yeah, and we've got a multitude of sources that come through, and it goes through our algorithm and says, these are the parts that
And it's
that
anticipating what you're going to be needing to supply.
Anticipating what we need to have on the shelf, and anticipating what we need to get out of. That may be on its way out or on its way down. So we don't care what it flies on or what ATA chapter it is.
Okay.
If the data says it's good.
And this is engine parts, it's
engines, airframe,
cabin, I guess.
All of it.
The whole gamut. Okay.
The whole gamut. We're not so much the consumable side, mostly the roadable side, but pretty much just anything.
Okay. So what this data then? What is it telling you at the minute that you need to be in? Where the demand is?
A lot of it, as most people would see, it's A320s, it's 73NGs. It's those that are the older fleet that's still flying because of the delays in the production, right? And that's not.
It's the situation we're in. It's not going to change. By the sounds of it, it's not going to change very soon.
And it's no secret, right? I'm not sharing any proprietary data there, right?
Yeah. So you're busy. I mean, before we started, it must be probably the busiest time you've ever had. Really,
we're busy. We're growing like crazy, having to add people and get parts moving and adding a lot to the shelf.
And are these parts available? I mean, are you scoping around the world trying to find it? Is it tough to do that?
It's tough for some of them. So like our algorithm kind of gives us really between 10 and 13,000 parts that kind of hit right in our wheelhouse that say, hey, here's what we want. We've only got about 3,000 of them on the shelf at any time. Okay. Because some of them are just that hard to find. They're just that hard to...
And where are they coming from? There's the teardown guys, but are there manufacturers out there coming in to make the original parts?
We are buying some stuff from the manufacturer, from the teardown side, buying direct from airlines on their surplus side. Pretty much anywhere we can get our hands on a part, we're out there looking for it.
Is the industry waking up to this, that actually this demand for second-hand parts is clearly booming, and therefore why not supply that demand if there's a demand out there?
I think it's always been there. I think most of the airlines are pretty open to that that supply. There were some airlines kind of in the APAC region that were a little more hesitant on that side, but it's all opened up now, and everybody just wants it.
I guess as a consumer outside of it, take my aviation hat off, and you often see pictures of those aircraft graveyards in the desert in the US or whatever, and all that kit sitting there doing nothing. I mean, is that something that a underutilized potential asset there for the industry?
Potentially, but a lot of those are being parked for a reason. They may be going back into service, or they may be in line to be disassembled. We're at a point right now where disassemblies are at their lowest point in a long time.
Because they're still flying these old.
Because they're still flying.
Yeah.
The fleet is older. This fleet's still staying out there. So finding those aircraft to disassemble is difficult.
Yeah.
We're having to pay more and bid higher dollar on every aircraft we'd potentially be looking at. Bringing in, and I know others are doing the same.
Just assess the situation as it is. Then we like you say, it's no secret. Supply chain is really difficult at the minute. On the consumer side, it's back beyond pandemic for most people. Are we getting? Is the industry sorting itself out? Are we getting better at getting these? Because actually the parts, not only you have to find the parts, they have to be in the right place as well, and that can be a challenge because we're a global industry, and who knows where a demand is going to suddenly pop up. So we're getting better at that.
We are getting better at that. Data is helping. AI is helping in anticipating some of that. Looking at what we're seeing and just the trends I'm seeing, 2026 Q4, I think is a maybe kind of coming out of that. I'm not saying it's going to all be fixed by then, but I think you'll see a few more planes being released from production.
I mean, there'll still be high demand there, but the industry will be better at serving it.
Right.
It won't be quite so much.
Once those planes get out of production, then you may have some more coming in for disassembly. Then you've got more supply on the market for the used parts. And you're kind of alleviating that a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So,
because of all this, are we seeing a requirement for the operators to have a little bit of redundancy and a bit of, obviously resilience in their processes? And are they doing that?
They are, and you're seeing that across the board. They're all being a little smarter with what they're doing, a little smarter with what they're doing.
Because that could almost exacerbate the issue because people are sitting on parts they don't currently need. So they're sitting on shelves not doing anything. So is there a double-edged sword to that?
There is, but you're seeing a lot more airlines doing exchanges, so they're not bringing in so much material. They're still filling that requirement for having that unit fixed on the aircraft, but they're not putting that on the shelf. They're not stocking that.
So you mentioned you're into data, and you mentioned AI. If you're into data, you're probably doing some AI stuff. Everyone's doing a bit of AI. They have to.
It's the buzzword.
It's the law. It's the law.
If you're not, you're behind. Right?
Yeah. But generally, what is AI doing for you at the minute, and what do you think the potential is for it?
Yeah, we're using AI on a lot of our analytics and things like that, just helping us quicker analyze inventory or analyze a list, and helping with some of that trend data side.
It's that core function of AI, isn't it? Where you're just not going to get through that data yourself.
You're not going to get
as a human being. It's not possible. But.
Right. So we've really embraced it on how it can help our business rather than the terror of everyone. It's going to take my job. Well, it will if you let it. But if you embrace it and
it's certainly going to change the role, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure you're bringing in expertise for this area, or do you have it in house?
It's mostly in house. We're all just kind of moving through it in house and learning where we can and
embracing it,
taking classes and learning what we got.
So you said you got 40 people in the business.
Yep.
40. So it's not a big business, but spread around globally.
You
said you are growing. So you mentioned a new facility potentially in the UK. Although
we're close. I think I saw an email this morning that I think the lawyers finally agreed on one last sentence that they didn't like. So we should be done, signed for the UK warehouse.
So that's a warehouse, and where's that going to be?
That'll be in Crawley.
Okay,
so just near Gatwick, right?
Okay. And again, that's just more capacity, more parts on site, ready to go when needed.
And that's part of that location that you mentioned, right? Having those parts in a location that's a little bit quicker for somebody that may be AOG and needs that part right away.
Technology is really interesting. It's obviously help changing your business, but it's changing the industry as a whole. We run the Predictive Aircraft Maintenance Conference, coming up in November in Dublin, and that plays a role in all this, doesn't it? Because if you can predict, it goes back to the resilience and being prepared for the unknown. Mm-hmm. If you can predict what's going to happen, you're in a better place.
You're in a better spot.
You see more of that happening, do you?
I do.
Yeah.
We're seeing.
And how does it help you? How does it change what you do then?
So it's helped us a little bit on some of our requirements and our requests. We're having some more airlines now using that predictive maintenance, going, hey, I'm going to need these in 6 months, or I'm going to need this, coming down the line. And it allows us to then bring that in, have it prepared, ready for them, rather than guessing with our data that they might need it. It's a whole lot easier to predict if they just go, hey, we need this, and we're going to need it in 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's only going to get more sophisticated. At the moment, it is fairly sophisticated now, but you can see the speed at which AI changes things.
Right.
It's bewildering slightly.
It's only going to get better, and it's only going to get better as people share more of that data. That predictive gets better.
So there's a sticking point.
But that's the sticking point. That's the sticking point. Everyone talks about it'd be great if we shared data and it would all be better, but everyone, this is mine, I don't want to share. There's
still this kind of idea, well, that's my USP, you keep your hands off it. Right. Thank you very much. Yeah, okay.
Rather than, hey, let's share it and then we can have a better predictive.
And then let's look around today, the number of companies here, and we're just talking here about MRO, but you can go to other big shows like this for cabin. There's even bigger number of people exhibiting there. this is an industry that no one player can. I mean, the big boys, the Airbuses and the Boeings, clearly have a massive impact, but even they can't do everything by themselves. So
they can't do
it. It is an
everything
industry that does require everyone to move in the same direction. Do you feel that's happening? Is there an intent there to do that?
I feel there is. It's not where I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
I think there are players that work together, and it is an odd industry because even though we're competitors, we also buy a lot from each other and sell a lot to each other.
There's competition everywhere. Yeah.
Right. So there has to be this cooperation to continue to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing it more and more.
Who drives that? I guess it's the industry bodies that are meant to be sort of quite meant to be all neutral in all this. That they potentially could drive it, but you've got to be a member of them to.
You have to be a member of them. You got to do it. So it's really we've driven it mostly just with our relationships with people.
Yeah.
And just working with that relationship and talking to each other and how can we move forward together.
Yeah. Okay. Time's nearly out for this one, but that's been really fascinating. Just a quick final few thoughts on the next couple of days. You're going to have a lot of people coming by the stand, a lot of airlines presumably, a lot of operational people. What kind of discussions do you expect to be having, or have you already been having, and do you expect to have over the next couple of days?
Most of them so far have been, like we've mentioned, what can we help you with? What supply do you need? Here's what we have on the shelf. I think I bid on 2 airplanes this morning at a table that I didn't remember bidding on. So, it's spending money, buying parts, and opening doors with some of those airlines.
Yeah.
That's really the focus for us at the show.
It's a busy time. It's a busy time. I mean,
it's
just
time.
super busy. Yeah, which is
it saves time to go see all those people, and you can see them in one go in one spot. It's great.
Sure. Look, Chris, thanks for that. Thanks for joining us on ABN Cast. Really pleasure speaking to you.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers.